Alright guys, back with the boat again. Getting all my stuff out of it. I'm going to leave the floor panel so that I can lay on it when I'm working up there, but those steps are too rotten for me to even save as a template, so I'm just going to chop them out of there. And I'm going to keep getting the rest of the floor and those side panels in the front out. And then all the garbage picked up and vacuumed and pressure wash it today, hopefully. I'm also probably going to just rip this vinyl off. I'm not going back with it, so there ain't no reason for me to keep it. Well, came up inside here to see what it was going to take for me to try and remove these, and removing them was just a breeze. It was literally like pulling paper off because they were so rotten. There's not enough of that left to get a template out of, but I think that was cabinet boards. It's 3/4 inch with a veneer outside, so I think that was cabinet boards or something. I can't imagine StarCraft having done that purposely, but anyhow, the rest of this panel is just like this. This was plywood. I know that looks like leaves, but that was the original plywood. And that panel, which is one of the easier ones to reproduce because it's a lot simpler shape, is solid enough that I could drill it out to recreate it. This panel that is totally missing is the one that's going to have the notches around the ribs, and is going to take the is I believe the hardest one to recreate, but that won't be a big deal. I've done these before. These panels, I'm not even sure what they're made of yet, have rows of rivets all the way up into the bow, so I'm going to have to lay down in here and drill all those out. And I think I'm going to leave the floor section to lay on, as well as this foam here, even though it's nasty, so that I can drill the rivets and get these side panels out. And now that I'm uncovering stuff, I'm noticing some cracks in the original plastic dashboard. So hopefully when I do take those apart, which I'm going to try to wait to do the dashboards until after the new floor is in, but if they don't survive, I have a plan. I've already been underneath and looking up, so I have an idea of what the structure's like under there, because even this board is rotten. But I will be able to create a good dashboard if these covers don't survive. And this one's aluminum on the backside, so that's going to be helpful. Anyway, I'm going to start by cleaning the rest of this mess out of the way, and then I'm going to try and sweep this stuff off the best I can before I go under there. What I'm not happy about is all the mud dauber nests that I'm finding. However, they all seem to be vacant, so that's pretty cool. Hey guys, I got the panels out, I got the front floor out. Front floor survived enough I can recreate it. Now I'm going to chop as much of this wiring and junk off as I can, and my next step is to go through like this rivet, this one, all the rivets that I had to drill to take this stuff apart, like this, like these. I'm going to go through and make sure that all of those are drilled all the way, all the holes are clear, and then I'm going to pick up all the big garbage and I'm going to start vacuuming this. The reason I'm going to make sure that all those rivets are drilled is so that when I go to put it back together, I don't have to fight with partially drilled out rivets. So, here we go. Alright, I just have a couple of rivets left on this. Went ahead and pulled that vinyl out of the sides. I'm going to have to take some kind of an abrasive to get the remainder of the foam and stuff off. And then I'll find some kind of a chemical adhesive remover to use on that before I acid wash it, if I get to that point. The thing is I needed the hole empty like this. I'm about to sweep everything kind of back so that I can put it all in that trash bag before I vacuum it. But I know for a fact I'm going to have to remove this knee brace and put it back in because of the depth of the mud. I know that it's packed full, and sometimes there's a lot of corrosion under there. So, with that being said, I may find some corrosion in here that I don't like or can't repair. I don't think that there's anything really that I can't repair. I do have access to a TIG welder, and I know several other methods of making a hole go away in aluminum. But I'd like to get it pressure washed out today. So that's going to be my goal. Like I said, I just have a few more rivets along there. The shelf. I have a few more rivets in there that I need to clean up, and then I'm going to go ahead and sweep everything from up in the bow all the way back so that I can pick it up and put it in that trash bag. Because some of that stuff ain't going to go through my vacuum. But anyway, this is what a StarCraft looks like with no floor in it. Totally open. And no vinyl, believe it or not. There's no vinyl left. Well, I take that back. There's a little bit of vinyl behind the dash, behind the glove box. But I'm not there yet. Well, I'm just sweeping. You can already see the difference it's making. What I'm doing is I'm sweeping down into the middle, and I'm sweeping back. Sweeping down into the middle, and then sweeping back. Down, back, down, back. And eventually, I'll get a big pile back there, and I'll pick it up, and then I'm going to come back in with a vacuum. Well, one thing about sweeping is you always find all kinds of stuff in here. I found some sinkers, a bunch of nuts and bolts, a bunch of other cool stuff. But one thing about cleaning that I've learned is start big. So sweep out all the, or rather, pull out all the big parts, and then sweep out all the big stuff, vacuum out all the stuff that's after that, and then lastly, pressure wash for all the small stuff. Alright guys, I gotta let my vacuum cool down. I tried to get some footage of the stuff in the vacuum and then it plugged up. I'm gonna try to fix that, but I got something here I want to show you. Hang on. See these little holes here? Got these guys, that guy, that one. That is corrosion. It's not quite through the hull. I don't feel it on the backside. But that is what corrosion looks like. Galvanic corrosion. And those all need to be repaired. Now, judging by the size of them, after I acid wash, of course, because I'm going to acid wash this, but depending on how big those holes are after the acid wash, I will decide how to repair them. From the looks of them now, I could probably just drill them and put new solid rivets in. That's what these are. These are the back sides of solid rivets from the other side, and that might be what I use to repair those. But I found them there. That's a common spot. This is the other side, and there's one here, but I won't really know until after I get all this caked on stuff. That's gas and oil and mud and dirt, fish blood and everything else. So once I get that pressure washed out of here and then acid washed, I'll have a good idea of what all hull repairs I need to make. I thought that was another spot, that's just a smear. As for the knee brace, that's this piece here. So it comes up and supports the transom. Zoom out. It supports the transom. The splash well comes down about here. This thing is full to here with solid packed mud inside. I mean, it's solid right here. I should be able to put my finger in it. So I'm going to have to remove that. And that's held in again with these solid rivets all along here. And then it just has the 6 bolts, 3 on each side, that go through the transom. So I'm going to have to remove that and get it dealt with. Now, I've done boats without pulling these off, and you can't get to any corrosion that's underneath. How packed this is, I'm sure that I'm going to find the same thing under here that I found here. And once I get this hole totally acid washed and clean, I'm going to be going through every little spot like this and finding these so that I can make all the repairs on them, because that'll make for a lot of leaks and a bad day. Another interesting thing, this boat doesn't appear to have ever had an anode on it. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to add anodes. Now what an anode is, or a zinc as a lot of people call them because they're high in zinc a lot of the time, it's a sacrificial piece of metal that you put onto a boat like this. All your outboards have them, at least all your modern ones have them built into the outboard. But that's not enough. I'm going to add a hull anode or two to this hull. And it's a sacrificial piece that's an alloy, so it's made of more than one metal. It's a little cast piece. I'm going to add one to the hull. So that material will have to have an electrical bond to the hull, which means I have to sand all the paint off of wherever I decide to put it below the water line, and put the anode on, seal it without disrupting its electrical connection to the hull, and then mask it and paint around it. It has to be attached electrically to the hull, which means it has to be like bare metal to bare metal. And what that does, especially in a saltwater environment or in a boat basin or anywhere with other boats at all, is that metal will erode and go away so the hull doesn't have to. That's why they call it a sacrificial anode. And there's different formulas for making them, and they all have different purposes. So I'm going to do my homework and find out what the best ones for this environment are, so far as for the salt water that I'll be using this boat in. But anyway, I'm going to get back to cleaning. Alright, I've been all over up in there vacuuming. There's some stuff clear up there in the front that's like caked in, like it's kind of like stuck to the aluminum. So I'm going to have to use the pressure washer for that and just clean up a little bit. But that's all the vacuuming I'm going to do. I've had to empty this thing twice. Well, I emptied it once and I have to empty it again, so it'll be twice. But I'm just about ready to start pressure washing it. I did find about even there across, there's a little bit of pitting. So as soon as I get her cleaned out and I can get some acid to acid wash it with, I'll be able to see what kind of shape this hull is in, really. So stay tuned. Well, you can see I got some water draining. I just kind of sprayed it with the hose before I hook up the pressure washer, knock the dust off. Yep, this is about to be fun. Pardon the camera angle, but you can see where I'm putting in my nozzle here. Gotta do this to get all the channels clean. I'm sure you'll notice it doesn't look nearly as clean now as it did a few minutes ago. But by the time you're all done getting everything all washed out, it'll get nice and clean again. One more time now for this, just for good measure. See where that nozzle is? It's in that gap. Come over the other side of the same stringer. Oh man, this one's really plugged up. It won't even transfer. Uh-oh. There's a drain here as well. Isn't that crazy? You remember those little holes I showed you earlier in the video? In the bottom of the hull? The corrosion? Check this out. They do go through. But that's fine. I expected this. Hopefully after I deal with the acid, I will be able to just drill them out cleanly and put solid rivets in place. If not, then I'll just solid rivet a patch on the outside. It's not a super big deal. I notice I've got a pretty good dent right here I'm going to see what I can't do with not disturbing that. I don't want to have a crack. Sometimes you can't bend them back without cracking them, so I'll see what I can do for this. Otherwise, I do plan on sealing the hole with Glovit. I ran the pressure washer out of gas, and it's after 5, so I'm just going to clean up my mess and go put this away and go home. Got a half an hour drive home after this, so I made a lot of progress today. I'm really happy with how far I got. Depending on how tomorrow goes, which is Cinco de Mayo, then I may come back and keep pressure washing. I think I've got the better part of a day left of pressure washing on this. So anyway, see, I got my truck and my pressure washer. Yeah, I even got stuff on my face. If you followed along this far, I wanted to remind you I have a playlist that I've put together for this project with videos that I've made and videos that my wife makes as well. It's titled 1977 StarCraft Holiday. So that's going to be on my channel page if you care to follow along with this project. I'm making really good headway. I've worked on this boat now for 6 days. 2 or 3 of those days was on my lunch break. At least two of those days was after work for a couple of hours. And then today I got about a half a day on it. I started around 1 o'clock. I started working on the boat, and it's 5 now, so I got 4 hours in it. I'm trying to keep track of my hours and cost on this, just for the fact that hopefully some of you watching this video are in the middle of a project like this and can find this helpful. Maybe ahead of time you can see this and know what you're getting yourself into. But anyway, I'll catch up with you later.